This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, I'd like to call to order the October 14th, 2021 meeting of the Architecture Review Board to order. First order of business is approval of minutes from the regularly scheduled September 9, 2021 meeting. Does anybody have any comments or would like to make a motion? Tom?
Tom Sharpwood's board member. I'd like to make a motion to accept the meeting minutes.
Tom, you kind of cut it. I don't know if everyone else could hear him, but you were kind of cutting in and out there. Can you try one more time?
Sorry about that. I'd like to make a motion to accept the meeting minutes from last month.
Is there a second? Steve Law,
Second.
all in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All
Aye.
opposed? Meeting minutes approved unanimously from September 9th. Our first order of business, 150 Long Beach Boulevard, review a petition to the zoning commission by Benefit Coatings for constructing a single-story 14,400 square foot per floor manufacturing and process facility with offices and warehouse distribution. You guys have the floor. I'm not sure who's going to take the lead on this, Steve or John, but why don't you guys go ahead? I don't know if you're going to screen share. I think we all have drawings, but I'm not sure if you're going to screen share or not.
Oh,
Go
yeah,
ahead.
John will take the lead on this. John, do you have the prints up on the screen, or I can bring them up on my screen, whatever works for you?
If you could bring them up on your screen, that would be okay.
I'm making you the presenter, Steve.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. For the record, my name is John Cruitt. I am the architect of record for Benefit Coatings. My business is located in Guilford, Connecticut. What we have in front of us is a single story, 14,400 square foot per floor, manufacturing process facility with offices and a warehouse distribution. The concept that's being promoted is based upon further accentuating the office front area by developing a curtain wall window arrangement on the front and left elevations, which generally follows the location of the offices. There's a fascia surrounding the front entrance in which I wanted to accentuate the front entrance. And the materials that I propose to use for that would be finished metal panels. The front and side elevations feature a full veneer brick masonry. It goes up 16 feet. I originally had planned to color it in antique red, but in further consultation with my client, Benefit Coatings, we decided that we would go with a more natural red brick color. In either case, we wanted to be influenced by the local breweries in Stratford and some of the older factory constructions which use brick unit masonry. The glazing in the front and left side has a head height of 10 feet, which matches the ceiling height of the offices, which is set at 10 feet. It is in dark anodized aluminum. The choice of color is meant to complement the masonry and also the metal wall for the balance of the building. The corrugated metal wall is colored such that it again can be complementary to the brick in the front. The roofing, we had elected to go with a 1/4 inch per foot pitched roof. Upon further discussion with the design construct team, this roof is basically going to be an insulated roof with a single ply white EPDM surface. And the intent here, which is more clearly shown on the elevations, is that it would drain to either side of the building and this way you would not have any gutters and downspouts showing on the very front or street elevation. As far as the brick masonry, the office, as you could see on the plans, it continues back 32 feet, which basically coincides with the office area shown on the plan. So with that, that's my basic presentation. I am available for questions and comments, and I'll just turn it over back to Steve or to the chairman of the Design Review Committee.
Okay, so Steve, is there anything further for you to present?
Not really. From what I just wanted to kind of scroll through these drawings. This is what John was talking about, the pitched roof. And then these are the elevations, just to kind of give you a little bit more detail.
So I heard you're commenting on Rose and Tiso not being here. I just wanted to put out there and remind you that the purview of our board is in fact to review site planning, landscaping, site lighting, even parking configurations and proximity to the road. So it would have been helpful.
I can go through that with you.
Okay, so if you're familiar, that's fine. So if you want to go through the site and have somebody to address what's happening before we open it up for questions, that would be great.
Okay, great. All right, I'll go through the site plan right now. My computer can work. So this is the existing site conditions. There was a building there that was demolished, and these, the site will be clean when we start. This is the proposed building, so we are actually going with a smaller building than was on that site previously. And then you'll have parking along here. You have all your handicap parking obviously in front, and then all the through traffic for trucks and everything will come on this side, and the docks are in the back of the building. The drainage system, kind of went through that yesterday. There'll be, before the drainage system was going directly into storm water, and now we have gallery systems, so we'll be handling most of the water on site with the gallery. We also have an oil water separator that will clean and filter the water before going into the gallery system. It's a vortex system, so basically just uses gravity to spin out all the debris and oil. That's more that. This is the landscaping plan. So basically have some, it was designed by Rose Tiso, and bushes up in front and trees and islands. So it's just enhancing, it was enhancing and making better than what we had before. Before it was just a plain building, and we're putting in a lot more landscaping. I don't have, I wanted to go, so this is the lighting plan. So you have your minimum 1 foot candles with your full cutoff light. So we'll have no light pollution or spillage, and you have less than 1 foot candle at the property line. So there's no light going out into the neighbor's area. And that's more of the existing parking lot. So that's basically it. We are reducing, like I said, we're reducing the footprint of the building and adding more landscaping. These are just details on anti-traction mat. The entire drainage, the storm sewer will be protected during construction and obviously cleaned out before we go, before we hand over the building to the owner.
Okay. Anything further you'd like to present, Steve, before we open it up for questions?
No, I think that's about it.
Okay, so let's go around the room. I'm going to start with John Zabel. John, some comments, please.
Yes, good evening, everybody. Commissioner Isabel. Hi, Steve.
How you doing?
Good. Sorry for my delay, technical difficulties on my end. And hi, John, nice to see you again.
Sure.
Yeah, a couple quick questions I had. Again, I'd just like to comment on the completeness of your plan. Again, understanding Rose Tissot is not here tonight to present, but I think you guys have provided definitely ample information for us to review, both of the building and the site, all the different details, elevations and stuff. So I just want to say that I definitely appreciate that. Couple quick questions I have are, I didn't see anywhere where there would be signage other than on the building. Would there be an entry sign, a numeric sign for address? Again, as Jamie pointed out, that stuff, aside from the building architecture, is in our purview. And that's one thing I just wondered if you could comment on. And that also gets to the question, will it be lit? And if it is lit, is it backlit? Is it uplit? How is that going to work for on the property?
So probably, you know, they're not really, not a lot of the public and not a lot of people are coming to their building, so they're not going to have anything crazy for signage. But they will have a simple sign similar to the similar to what you saw on the rendering.
Right.
Bringing that up. No, that will not be, the only thing that they may choose to do is just like do a gooseneck fixture that does not have any uplight at all if they do any lighting. But I have not really discussed that with the owner. Most of the buildings down there just have simple signs because nobody's going down there at night to see the sign anyways. And then, yeah, we'll probably put some numbers on the building for 150. You know, probably in this, you know, maybe in this lower area here.
Where was that?
I think if I may add to that, the
Yep, go ahead.
optimum place that I can see us putting a numeric address sign would be on right above the front entrance, on that front entrance fascia.
Yeah, that's what I was going to point to.
Just
Right
like
there.
raised lettering on that, and it would just say 150.
I don't know if you guys can see. Can you see my cursor or no? Or
Yeah, I
John?
can.
No, I
John's saying right about there.
Yes, we can see it.
There you go. Couple other questions is relative to building lighting. It appears, again, on the lighting plan, from what I can see, there was only like 5 fixtures, I think, for the entire lot. And they were all pole mounted. Is there any lighting going on the building?
Let's go back to that lighting plan for you.
Sure.
So no, there's nothing on the building. It would just be the pole mounted lighting.
Okay.
And that would just get you the code, you know, code required lighting for the parking lot.
Okay.
The one area where we possibly may have lighting is right above the front entrance. We're probably anticipating 2 or 3 recessed downlights that would contain LED fixtures that would just kind of just shine right above the entrance. This is a code requirement, and that is the only place that I can anticipate any lighting on the building itself.
Okay. Also, if you could just elaborate on the color scheme. Like I said, as I was signing in, we were just talking about the colors. I know there was mention of red brick. The rendering shows a kind of a lighter tannish red. Is that what we're going for, or is it a darker red? I know you mentioned the breweries.
It would be a different shade of red. It would be more reddish than what is shown on the rendering. But as far as, shading and such, it would be the same kind of texture, only more red.
Okay. I guess the final thing would be relative to electrical. Is there a transformer on the site? I know that's something we always see, and an understanding is industrial, but we usually try to visually protect that stuff from the road so it's not as obtrusive. I didn't see that on the plan. I saw that there was a trash receptacle in the back, which I was trying to get an understanding. Is that below grade there? Does that dip down? It appeared in the elevation plan that you go around the corner and you're kind of below the loading dock there.
Yeah, so the loading dock, well, everything would pitch. This area here where the trucks back in would, be a little bit lower, but
Okay.
this entire area kind of pitches this way, and if you can, so, but this would be at grade. It
Okay,
wouldn't
so
be
that is a grade.
Yeah, that's at grade. Yep.
Okay, now what type of enclosure? It says fenced enclosure. What type of fenced enclosure would that be? Because that would be visible from the road at points, even with those trees.
Correct. Let's see if he has a detail on that, so I don't. So that would probably, so we would use there is we'd use the vinyl slatted chain link fence.
Okay.
So, it's just the vinyl slats, so you wouldn't see the dumpsters, and it's a kind of a cleaner look.
Okay, and then the transformer, sorry, I cut in there, but I didn't see one. Is there a transformer on the site, or is it all pole mounted?
The transformer, so I don't know if I could answer that right now because the service, the electrical engineer hasn't designed the service yet for this building.
Okay.
So if it's, say 400 amp service, then it would be a pole mounted. And, as soon as you go up to 600 or 800 amps, then it has to be a ground mounted transformer. And then we'd kind of have to do what UI requires. Obviously, with spacing, it'd have to be 5 feet away from any driving surfaces, surrounded by bollards. But my guess it would be towards the back of the building because, and correct me if I'm wrong, John, the utility room is towards the back of the building.
In fact, the utility room is between the office and the warehouse, at least the way it's schematically designed, but we could certainly elaborate on that and provide a more complete utility room. I believe probably the electrical service enters somewhere in back of the office, but again, that hasn't been finalized.
Yeah, without the electrical engineer designing this, I can't. I would assume it's going to be a pad mounted transformer though.
Okay, and then I guess the last thing was, it appears that there is a skirt or an apron around the bottom portion of the building. Is that just going to be exposed concrete, or go to,
Well,
yeah, on the left side there
yeah.
next to the vehicles?
Yeah, it may have been labeled and addressed on the elevations. If you could just turn to the elevation sheet. Generally, what we plan to do with those is rather than just expose the concrete, we want to finish this off and parge it to give it some texture.
Yeah, you will have exposed concrete, and yeah, exactly what John said. We could parge it to make it look smooth, but just because of the grade differences, and you got, basically at front you're above grade, and then you go down back towards the loading docks. You're going to have some exposed concrete because the building's just going to be higher. But we would parge that concrete and make it look smooth.
Okay, that's it for me, Jamie. Thank you.
Okay, Tom Sharkowitz.
Tom Sharkowitz, board member. want to thank you for the presentation. It's extremely complete, and we like that here, so thank you.
Oh,
I'd
sure.
like to say that I'm satisfied with all of your responses to Commissioner Zabel's questions and concerns. I think he hit a lot of good points. In the rendering you show the brickwork, is that, are you envisioning just a standard stretcher bond on that, or is that, the rendering looks a bit different than the elevations?
Yeah, I am envisioning a modular brick, standard size, 8-inch by 2 5/8, and a running bond.
Okay. All right. I really like the windows. I think that really nails the factory look that you're going for, and I think this is a clean presentation of a building, especially for that area. But one big concern I have is there was a packet of it looks like Google Map screenshots that was included in our presentation, and I'm referencing this one right here.
Yep.
It looks like there's 5 large trees in this photograph, but I don't see those referenced in the landscaping plans or on any plans. Are those still there, or have they been removed?
Are you talking about the ones in the front?
Yep, the 5 trees that line the street, Long Beach Boulevard there.
Yeah, I'm actually, you know, I think those have been removed.
Ooh. That stinks.
Oh,
I don't know that they actually have to be removed. If I may just insert a little opinion
no,
here.
no, I'm not saying that they have to be removed. I drive by that area all the time. I'm just not. I'm thinking that they've already been removed.
Oh.
Yeah, I seem to recall that they may not have been removed. In fact, if they were, it's kind of a shame, because the way, since I had some communication with the in the site plan, part of the intent was to reuse the existing curb cuts and access drives.
Correct.
And in between those 2 curb cuts, the one on your left and the one on your right, there's a row of trees. I'm not sure if it's 3 trees or 4 trees. They seem to be fairly mature, and they seem to be, and correct me if I'm wrong, street trees. So I'm thinking, well, why not save those?
I'm sorry. You're
why
talking
not keep them?
about along here. You're
But,
talking about
you know,
along here.
this is a decision of the developers or somebody else to remove them. You know, I really don't have much of any say about that.
No, I'm sorry, John. I was mistaken. Along here, yeah, I don't think that's been touched.
Okay. Yeah, there's no reason to remove those. Well, that's my opinion.
Yeah, no,
Because
yeah, we are using the existing curb cuts, and those will remain. I apologize. I thought you were talking about it.
Right. Yeah, that was
Okay, great. I'd like to make like a specific line item in our discussion here that those street trees need to be saved if they're still there. I think removal of them would be a huge negative on this project, especially since they are mature trees and there is, you know, already an alley of trees down that street. I think removing them would be the wrong idea. That's all I have, Jamie. I'll turn it back to you.
Okay, Shannon Hovan.
All right, Stephen and John, thank you very much for your presentation. Thank you for being here with us. Really appreciate your time and the effort that you put into what was presented to myself and my fellow board members. I had 2 comments that member John Zabel already addressed, so thank you, John. I did want to just make a comment generally about the site design decisions that you both made regarding this project, minimizing the building footprint, minimizing paving, adding landscaping, and the treatment of water and drainage on the site. I think that's fantastic. Really appreciate that. I did, if I may, I know it will end up being just a suggestion. I don't know what the hours of operation are for for the company, but just if I could perhaps suggest a light of some kind above both of the accessory exits on the north and east side of the building. I don't know if when deliveries are going to be happening or if employees are going to be exiting out of those doorways, but it does get dark very early for a good chunk of the year up here, as I'm sure you're both well aware, and maybe just for security or reasons, just some kind of a light above those two doors would be something to consider. I did have a question what the mechanical systems were, kind of piggybacking off of Member Zabel's comment about a generator that I didn't see. Are there any mechanical equipment? Is there going to be something on the roof that needs to be screened, something on the site that needs to be screened? Just you could speak a little bit to that.
So yeah, so we'll have AC units that are located on top of the roof. Again, I don't have a mechanical engineer design yet, so I'm not exactly sure on how many units there'll be or what size they will be. But yes, they will be located on the roof to serve the different areas of the building. There possibly could be a small generator, but the owner has not made a decision on that yet. It would just be a smaller one just to run a couple of things, nothing big. It would just be a natural gas generator, I'm assuming. But again, I don't have the engineering for electrical engineering, figured that out yet. Other than that, the warehouse will just have internal unit heaters, and the office will have your standard AC units on the roof for air conditioning and heating.
Thank you. I think the level of care that has been put into really designing this building, especially in the location that it's in, I would assume that the intent would be to try and screen those units just to not take away from how nice the facade is going to look once it's complete. If that could be something you prioritize, that would also be greatly appreciated. And one last general comment is just another comment that I really enjoyed the use of multiple materials, again, especially for a building in an area that's not really heavily trafficked. It could have just been one giant color metal panel all the way around all the different facades. I appreciate the level of intent that you guys took to the entrance and each facade. So generally speaking, Jamie, I think that's it. Just a comment about maybe adding lights over the two exit doors, screening any potential mechanical equipment on the roof or otherwise. And overall, thank you very much for your presentation, gentlemen. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, thanks, Shannon. Steve Law.
All right. Good evening, Steve Law, Vice Chairman. Thank you, Steve and John, for putting this pretty comprehensive proposal together. It's nice to see a articulated, pre-engineered building in that area instead of just a big box. So we appreciate that. I think the other commissioners made some good points that I was going to bring up. It's just a couple items. I like the idea of the brick facades and returning it on the two, I guess it's the east and west maybe, or
Yes.
I think the trees may still be there. I'm looking at a Google image from 2019 and those trees are still there. So I want to emphasize Tom's point about it would be very beneficial to keep those trees if at all possible.
Absolutely.
One of the things that threw me for a little bit of a loop was the actual address of the building. I think it said in the cover material it was 550 Long Beach Boulevard. And so I went all the way down to the end of Long Beach Boulevard and I couldn't find it. Then I realized it was 150 Long Beach Boulevard.
The benefit coatings is currently at 550. Maybe that's why.
Yeah.
Okay. So this will be their new facility.
Correct.
Yeah. There were some comments brought up about the signage. I don't know, Steve, if you can go back to that. I was thinking actually that the entry surround fascia that John has developed, when I was looking at it, I thought the signage, it may emphasize the building a little better if that sign was incorporated, was more integral with that surround fascia. If there's any way to do that, it might benefit the overall composition by identifying the building on the brick portion and not the big box above. And I'm wondering if that cornice, the edge of the roof line along the perimeter, could be integrate, or could be elaborated a little bit so it reads a little heavier. Just a comment about the overall design, but I think it looks pretty well articulated. Comment on the, I guess, the stair entry and the ramp. I know I heard the foundation would be parged concrete. I'm wondering if there's any way to bring in some different materials on the stairs and the ramp, just to make that a little nicer there. So again, I think the transformer, if we can, we would much rather have that transformer towards the back, if at all possible. We'd not like to see it up front along the street side. So I just want to emphasize John's point on that.
Yeah, I think we would push it back as far as possible, pending on what UI's, maximum distance from the poles are and all that. So we would, try to get it as far back as possible.
So I think that was it on the building. The only, can you just explain the, I guess, the truck access? So most of all the loading in the semis are going to be coming along the south side of the building. Is that correct?
Yes, they'd be coming in this entrance here.
Yeah.
And then, pulling back here.
And they have enough room to turn around? Is that
absolutely? Yep.
Yeah.
That's what this radius is. That's what this radius is here, as turning radius for them.
It was figured on 52-foot trailer, so it's plenty adequate.
And so there's two curb cuts, one on the south side and one on the north side. It looks
Correct.
like, is that the one on the north side? Is that an active access way?
Yeah, both of these are basically, both are existing. There's a building here currently, which is 555 Lordship Boulevard.
Where's that, Steve?
Right on this building right here. So you see this line right here? It's a shared. That's a shared drive. So yes, that is active right now.
Yeah.
And this curb cut is also existing. Both curb cuts are already existing.
Yep. Well, thank you very much, Jamie. That's all I have.
Okay, Jamie Millward, I wanted to, pretty much everyone covered all the comments I would have had, but I'll start with a couple that I hadn't heard. The railings out in front, can you talk a little about what that material might be and what that, it looks like, looks black, but what's the intent there for the railings?
It would be either metal or aluminum. It would be some sort of metal. I would anticipate it would be a dark anodized aluminum, very similar to the material used for the curtain wall.
Okay. The big one, which a couple we've already touched on, is the street trees. I understand you are going to keep them. The only thing I wondered, it looks like the existing building, is maybe, where the existing building was, is probably 15 or 20 feet from the property line, and your new paving looks like the parking area is only a couple feet from the property line. Those street trees are actually set back quite a ways off the road. And so, I think, those are established trees, have a pretty established root system. If you go start, even for a parking area, you dig down and put your process down and everything, you're going to put those trees in danger. So I just, feeling like locating where those trees are. And if this whole thing had to shift back a few feet to make sure that those trees were salvaged, I think that would be an important piece. I understand you're going to try and keep them, but under this plan, you may really be putting them at risk. So I appreciate the articulation of the facade as well. I was, the size of the building, I know your neighbor to the north has a similar kind of thing, and they don't have the brick band running across the top, but they do have that articulation running down the full length of the building. I was going to comment on that, but I appreciate what you've done here, and the front of the building looks nice. You do see the sides. I think you will see the sides from the road, and I'm not suggesting you need to do anything further, but as you guys do further projects together, anticipating how much of the side of the building you'll see as well, you may want to carry their articulation further around the corners, like the house, or excuse me, like the building to the north is. And my last question, really, the proposed, you kind of a future, and I'm just wondering, if there's any knowledge about intent of that, about building a second building back there, if you can comment on that, or maybe just that's an owner's decision and you just don't know a whole lot. That's fine too.
Yeah, I don't know much about it, what they would use that second building for, but I believe it would just be for if they expanded their, their processing inside and they needed more storage, they would maybe use that as a storage, for excess materials.
Yeah, that's very much my understanding about what that proposed phase 2 would be. Would be basically an enlargement of the storage and distribution in the event that they had to expand their manufacturing clean room processes in the existing building.
Okay, thanks, John. All right, so that's my commentary. Is there anything further that either John or Steve you'd like to present to us at this time? And if not, is there any, based on our commentary, does any of the other commissioners have any thoughts that have been spurred by any of the conversations? And if there's not,
Just had John Zabel member had a quick clarification. Just going back, John, to your letter, you said the roofing is flat, but in the final solution will be 1/4 inch per foot pitch from the center. Can you just clarify that?
Yeah, that is considered in architectural and layman's terms a flat roof. A pitched roof would have at least a 1 in 12 pitch.
Sure. Okay.
okay. So without any other commentary, is there a motion that can be presented by one of our commissioners? Okay, maybe, I've been trying to take notes here. I'll make a motion, I guess.
Jamie, can I just jump in quick?
Yes, John, go ahead.
Just a general comment to the way we're going to make our recommendation, because I think just following on last month's meeting, we should try to make a recommendation, not so much that we find it favorable or not. I think that's where we got hung up last time. You know what I'm saying? I think that caused some confusion last time, that we were favorable, not favorable. I think we're all in the same vein, that we all really appreciate this project this evening and the level of effort, but more so that the recommendation is we find it generally consistent with our guidelines, but offer the following potential revisions. You know what I mean? If anyone has a strong feeling that something needs to be changed. So I just throw that out there. I'm not necessarily making a recommendation.
Taken, and I do think we need to address how that will work, because obviously last month, we had recommendations, but the vote was split. And I'm not honestly clear how that should work, but perhaps we can make the wording of how we put forth our letters of recommendation to the P&Z we can spell it out clearer there. But so for now, I will make a recommendation that this project is generally consistent with our design guidelines with the following recommendations. First and foremost is to be able to maintain and preserve the street trees that are out in front. That we would screen, we'd like to see any and all mechanical equipment, rooftop or transformers or otherwise, be screened from the street, and pushed as far back in the property as possible. And that would include the rooftop units. The further back they are on the roof, the better. We'd like to see signage developed on the building. Take a closer look at both the numerical signs as well as the applied benefit coating sign, and perhaps integrate it into the decorative part of the building, not the metal band, but kind of let that exist, whether it's in the surround around the front door or into the brickwork. And I think that was kind of, everyone can chime in. I was trying to take notes as we went forward. Was there any other commissioners have some other recommendation items they'd like to be added to that?
Jamie,
Steve?
yeah, I know we talked about building and lighting, so I think we need to maybe add a bullet point to our recommendations that consideration for exterior building lighting, code compliant, as well as ambient lighting must be considered.
Okay, so we can take that verbiage exactly, I think. Aileen, if you have that. Anything else added to those bullet points? Okay, so maybe Aileen, perhaps, or Susmitha, can you maybe read? I was speaking there, and I don't have anything formally in writing. I mean, can you read back that list, and then we can take a vote?
Sure. This is Aileen Marsh, recording secretary. So Jamie Millward made the motion to recommend that the application follows the ARP guidelines with the following recommendations. Maintain and preserve the street trees. All mechanical units should be screened from the street and pushed as far back from the street as possible. Develop signage on buildings, and exterior building lighting must be considered.
And I think when he said signage, he said both numerical and the letter style of, signage.
Right, and perhaps say to integrate that into the surround or the brick rather than the metal.
Okay.
So if everyone is feeling like the points have been covered, is there a second to that motion?
I
Steve
second
Law?
motion.
All in favor, raise your right hand and say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, that motion has carried 4-0 unanimously. So John, Steve, thank you. And we look forward to seeing you guys again.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, we have a couple quick items.
Aileen, I have a question. Why did the
Yeah.
motion pass 4-0? It should be 5-0, right?
I
I'm
think
sorry.
Jamie made a mistake that he
I
didn't
did.
include
I
John
made a
Zabella's,
mistake.
but it carries
Yeah,
unanimously 5-0.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's just
Alright.
hard to believe Jamie would make a mistake, but.
1, 2, 3, 4, 6. There is no 5. Okay, so lastly, or not lastly, there's two quick things. We need to vote on our schedule of meetings for calendar year 2022. We are still shooting for the second Thursday of the month. And I believe we have to have a vote on this. So and I believe everyone has the schedule in front of them or has seen this. Is there a motion to accept the meeting schedule for 2022? John Zibel, is there a
Yeah,
second?
John Zabel, member. I'll make a motion to accept the schedule as presented for 2022.
Is there a second? Tom Sharkowitz, all in favor, say aye and raise your right hand. Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, the schedule passes unanimously. Lastly, before we adjourn, you know, I've talked to a few, I can't remember how many, but I think at least 3 or 4 of you about your openness to next month, unless some circumstances change, that we go back to live meetings. Is anyone here opposed? Do I see a thumb? I see a lot of thumbs up. So I reached out to Susmitha earlier today just to let her know that's what we were thinking. But you know, obviously if something crazy happens here, and we're all obviously hoping that does not, let's shoot for our November meeting to be live and still safe. And
Yeah,
we'll see. Yes, Susmitha.
so far I have no applications in the pipeline for zoning. So I don't know if the situation changes and we'll get something. Otherwise, we might have to cancel due to lack of agenda in November anyway. And then December, it being a holiday season, I'm not sure if we'll have much. Just so you know, maybe the next time we meet, maybe in January, who knows?
Okay, that's fine.
That's what I was thinking. That's why I wanted you guys to approve the 2022 calendar for this meeting. So thank you.
Yeah, I got it. Okay, John, you have something? Yes.
Yeah, can I bring this up, Susmitha? It's not an agenda item.
Yeah.
No, I just think, and Jamie, sorry to steal your thunder before, I just know.
John, can you wait a minute?
Yeah.
If it's not an agenda item, is it related to ARB?
Yeah, but what I'm saying is I'm proposing to get something on our agenda. We keep going, like, what's the process for getting, like, I think we need to have, this is just my personal opinion, all the other commissions I've ever served on always have an open topic discussion, which we should always have, because we could have something application related or not application related. We want to make a minor tweak to our guidelines. We want to discuss the way, like I did tonight, unfortunately, in the midst of that application, how we've been presenting things to the other boards and commissions to try to clarify that. So Susmitha, what's the mechanism to have those discussions?
Well, you just propose to put it on the agenda.
Eileen has a.
It's
Aileen,
Aileen.
What's Robert's rules say?
So you can, what I'm going to say is for some of my other committees and commissions, I do a general line item called, for you guys, it wouldn't be new business or old business because you deal with applications as they come. So it's a general members comments / concerns / questions. So, you know, Susmitha or Jamie, if you were open to that.
/ new business, something like that.
It wouldn't necessarily be new business. Susmitha can speak better to that because new business would be sounds more like if you're having a new application. So whereas a member comments, concerns, questions, you could throw out there, anybody could throw out there like, where do you want to meet for the next meeting? Or are we going to be reviewing new signage? Are we going to whatever it might be?
Amy, do you have a problem with open discussion?
No, not at all. I mean, whatever the language says, let's if we can add that to, and we can just, if we have nothing to talk about, then there's nothing to talk about. But if we can put that in there as a general discussion time for us to bring up items of business, not applications, let's do that.
And if you have something specific in mind, if you propose to put it on the agenda, just let me know a day before, or not a day before, like a week or 2 weeks before. A day before would mean I have to amend the regular agenda, but if you can let me know in advance, I'll put it on the agenda and you can discuss that.
Right, but even so, if we have this line item about having an open discussion, we'll be allowed to bring that up even if it's something that John thought of the day before.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Let's do that. And whatever the language is, I think it doesn't matter. Exactly what it says doesn't matter to me, but. Okay, anything further we need to discuss tonight? Okay. Is there a motion to close this meeting? Tom Sharkowitz,
Tom Sharkowitz, board member, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
is there a second? Steve Law? All in favor?
Second the motion.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, thanks, everybody.